You're listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 26th. A Spokane, Washington church is defending its decision to evict a long-running meal ministry from its property, alleging the charity enabled drug abuse. Zeal Church, which purchased the campus in May, terminated the month-to-month lease of Shalom Ministries, which has operated there for 32 years and says it served roughly 80,000 meals last year. Senior lead pastor Ray Valdez told his congregation the church has witnessed illicit drug use, drug dealing, drug paraphernalia, vandalism, littering, loitering on our property, and even claimed people were mailing drugs through this ministry to the jail. Valdez insisted this is not about food, adding, Spokane does not need more meals. They need an encounter with our Jesus. Shalom, whose lease ends September 30th, has suspended meals and is seeking a new location. Board President Dexter Phillips said the ministry welcomes all, sober or not. Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams is facing renewed backlash over a resurfaced 2022 speech in which she argued that abortion restrictions are unbiblical and rooted in cruelty. Speaking at Allen Temple AME Church in Woodstock, Georgia, during her failed campaign against Governor Brian Kemp, Abrams said, I am the daughter of two pastors. I have a strong moral core. I was trained to read and understand the Bible before declaring there is nothing about the decision to eliminate access to abortion care that is grounded in anything other than cruelty and meanness and danger. She also branded Kemp a hard-right religious extremist. The clip, recirculated by lifenews.com, drew replies citing Psalm 139 and Jeremiah 1:5. Scholar Robert Gagnon said Abrams was evidently trained to override the original meaning of the Bible in favor of her self-centered leftist ideology. Georgia's heartbeat law took effect in July 2022. Former NBA center Enes Kanter Freedom was ejected from a WNBA game in Chicago on Sunday after a heated exchange with Sky guard Natasha Cloud, all while wearing a shirt defining woman as a noun meaning adult human female. Kanter Freedom posted video of protesters confronting him outside Wintrust Arena, writing, Freedom of speech never looked this good, and later, I just got kicked out of a WNBA game for supporting women. Let that sink in, America. He says the trouble began when he cheered a Sophie Cunningham three-pointer, and Cloud shouted, she's not going to sleep with you. Sky coach Tyler Marsh defended Cloud as someone who protects people that need to be protected. League sources say Kanter Freedom won't be banned from future games. This episode is sponsored by CrossMap. Looking for a place that fills your soul and strengthens your faith? Visit crossmap.com, your trusted source for inspiration and life-changing stories from people of faith. Have your own story to tell? CrossMap Blogs is a welcoming place to launch your own blog, publish your testimony, and share stories that glorify God and edify His people. And while you're there, sign up for the CrossMap Daily newsletter and get top Christian videos, inspiring devotionals, and stories from other content creators to strengthen your faith delivered straight to your inbox. Be encouraged, be a part, be blessed. Visit crossmap.com and you can click that link in the show notes below. Our thanks to CrossMap for sponsoring this episode. Texas Democratic Senate candidate James Talarico is going after Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton over animal testing. The Team Talarico account posted on X that unearthed documents just revealed Ken Paxton, as Attorney General, protected a research lab that tortured 400 puppies, referring to a 2015 opinion from Paxton's office ruling that research at Texas A&M with commercial value could remain confidential. Paxton was also one of just 15 state House members to vote against a 2011 animal cruelty cost bill. Ken Paxton is anti-puppy, Talarico said, adding Paxton won't fight for the little guy, even when the little guy is literally a puppy. Critics note Talarico has praised Dr. Anthony Fauci, whose agency funded Beagle experiments. Real Clear Politics polling shows Talarico leading by 1.7 points. A South Carolina church at the center of a sex offender scandal has reopened its children's ministry with new safeguards. Pawleys Island Community Church announced the relaunch over the weekend, saying in an email, background checks and training have always been required to volunteer in PICC Kids, but we are now even more committed to ensuring we are providing the safest and most secure environment for children in our care. The church says it's using Ministry Safe's 5-part system, though that organization disputes any partnership, calling the claim misleading and inaccurate. The controversy began when 70-year-old registered sex offender Warren Spence Perry was arrested for volunteering as a custodian at Pawleys Island Christian Academy. Senior pastor Donald James Williams, his wife Virginia, and Academy director Jennifer Howard resigned and face criminal charges, while the church faces at least 6 civil lawsuits. A new study from UCLA's Center for Scholars and Storytellers finds that most religious young people believe media gets faith wrong. Titled The Future of Faith, Young People, Media, and Spirituality, and funded by the Templeton World Charity Foundation, the research surveyed more than 2,000 people ages 16 to 24, with focus groups of nearly 100 teens and young adults. Fewer than half felt media portrayals of their beliefs were accurate, and 70% said those portrayals affect how others treat them. More than 60% said something they saw made them feel less safe expressing their faith. Still, 68% connected with peers online over spiritual content. Lead researcher Yalda Uhl said Gen Z and Gen Alpha have an appetite for authentic content, urging creators to step up. Progressive Christian leader Bishop William Barber II used a Sunday sermon at Big Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Atlanta to warn that the United States is undergoing what he called a moral deregulation. Barber, president of the activist group Repairers of the Breach, told worshipers that authoritarianism's number one goal is moral deregulation, adding that they keep testing how much people will let go. He insisted the trend did not start with Trump, tracing it instead to the 1960s Southern strategy, and rejected the notion that removing Trump would fix everything. Speaking amid his group's 100 Days, 1,000 Marches to the Polls campaign ahead of November's midterms, Barber said the elections must be the beginning of a massive vote for what we want America to be, calling for a vision vote rather than mere critique. He also denounced an unholy alliance between oil money and religious nationalism, saying, "I don't call it Christian nationalism because it's not Christian." Thank you for listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast. We encourage you to follow the show in your podcast player of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or third-party podcast players like Overcast and Pocket Casts. You can also download the Edifi app for free and listen to all the podcasts on the Edifi network by clicking the link in today's podcast show notes. We would also appreciate a 5-star rating in Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help us reach a wider audience with the Christian Post Daily Podcast. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter and get the top headlines delivered to your inbox by clicking that link in the show notes as well. Thank you again for listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast.